Hi there, this is Fluorite. Yeah, you're hearing my voice this time, mostly because I feel a need to say a few things out loud regarding what just happened. Enjoy some rambling while this 3-team clear of the recent JP server event boss plays out. So, as many of you have probably heard by now, Crunchyroll Games has decided to terminate service for the Princess Connect global server in a month, on April 30th, 2023. The way I see it, it's a very sudden slap in the face for not just the English-speaking Princess Connect community, but the English-speaking mobile game community as well. Losing an anime mobile game with only a little over 2 years of service is a bad look for any companies hoping to publish a localized version of their game outside of Japan. It also sucks for me, since I absolutely love Princess Connect, the IP as a whole. I've been playing Princess Connect Redive's Japanese server since 2019, and after Sword Art Online Memory Defrag got shut down back in summer of 2021, I've been playing both the Japanese and global Princess Connect servers concurrently as my main obsession. I just love the colorful aesthetic and character designs, the copious amounts of voice acting and animation, the very deep game story and attention given to each of its characters, and how the gameplay can facilitate easily both casual and competitive play, and how the gacha system was just extremely fair. Maybe a bit too fair at times, considering how so many knowledgeable global players were very efficiently stockpiling hundreds of thousands of their jewels for just the right scouts. Myself included on that one. Anyways, because of my love for this game, when the global servers came up in early 2021, I wanted to use all the information and experience I picked up from the Japanese servers to not only get a head start, but also try to help others get through some of the more complicated tasks with ease. I like helping people, and even though I admittedly use low production value videos for my content, I was always thinking of what would work best for the player base and for just as many people as possible. And even for the next 3 years, I had nearly 2 gigabytes of notes saved on my computer on like how to do not just event battles, the event special battles, but also guides on Luna Tower, dungeons, event dungeons, which we never got to see. And I even had like these carefully constructed clan battle input guides ready for when stage 5 bosses in training mode became available. I guess those notes will have to be fed to the recycle bin now, because I'll never see those plans get put into play. I've also been thinking a lot about all the signs leading up to this closure announcement as well. And really, this announcement was not totally unexpected. Despite having over 300,000 active players on the Princess Connect global server, according to Mofu Mofu Live, the revenue produced by that player base is actually really low. An estimated $180,000 generated in February. Like, if we were to assume just 1% of the player base can be considered as like paying players, that means on average those players were spending only $60 that month. Still not just a drop in the bucket for most people, but that's compared to other gacha games, that's not even on the level of being a dolphin, let alone a whale or a space whale, giving out thousands of dollars for what they want. And in today's economic climate, where there's like constant market volatility, inflation, and a lot of corporate layoffs, that kind of revenue which was basically a 40% drop in revenue from the past month, can be seen as like a huge red flag that Crunchyroll Games wanted to act upon immediately. Just shut it down before it gets out of control. One of the more noticeable aspects, though, I wanted to touch on when it came to Crunchyroll Games that can sometimes be forgotten is just how understaffed this game was on the Crunchyroll Games side. I know it's not unheard of to put like less than 10 people in charge of localizing a mobile game that's 3 years behind its source material, or 2 years in the case of Fate Grand Order. But in this case, it became glaringly obvious at times that Crunchyroll Games just did not have enough people working on this project. From just recent memory, I can recall 3 bugs that significantly messed with players. Do you remember the Christmas special mode fight where Christmas Ilya was using the wrong skill set and made the fight much harder than it should have been, and no one could do that fight with 3 teams or less? Yeah, that happened. Or maybe the Extreme Dungeon 3 boss being so horrendously broken that it couldn't even fight back if you did enough damage and broke some of its body parts, or even afflicted it with status effects. That was a complete mess up. Or there was this most recent Rage of Bahamut revival event that had a broken map transition that locked up the entire game. It's like all of these issues should have been glaringly obvious to anyone who tested the game. Yet, all of those issues got thrown into the final product for their customers. And I'm not even listing out all the different bugs that wound up happening. There was the time in the very first multi-target boss that got implemented in clan battles, and how absurdly broken that was in terms of its damage output. Man, that was a thing. And it really does suggest that there just wasn't any staff available for play testing or quality control. And that's why I say that this project seemed to be very understaffed. And when there simply aren't enough people like working on a project, things get very dicey if someone needs to take sick leave or gets laid off because of the aforementioned economic climate issues. And that's not even going into the cost of this game's upkeep, from side games licensing fees, server costs, staff wages, and a very forgotten aspect, the advertising dollars required for this kind of thing to keep it alive. But yeah, this all sucks. There's nothing that really can be done about Princess Connect's global server closing. Everyone's efforts over the past 2 years are now blatantly being shown as just digital data held by a multi-billion anime company, and they can do whatever they want with that data. We never really owned any waifus in the end, and we just have to move on. They take our data and they flush it down the toilet. Though, speaking of moving on, there is an option available if you'd like to play Princess Connect still. The aforementioned Japanese server, which is still going very strong in the global anime game market. Even in a very competitive gacha game market, Princess Connect is still drawing crowds and flooding side games with tens of millions of dollars every year from its Japanese player base. I've added a link in the description below on how to start the Japanese server. And I've also included my friend ID code if you'd like to add me. If you add me, you can borrow some max level supports that can easily solo through a good amount of the main quest bosses with hardly any effort. You just throw them in solo into a fight and they'll win for you. As for what the future of this YouTube channel holds, it's simple. I don't know. And I'm undecided. As I've kind of alluded to, I've kind of treated my Japanese server account as my main account. So I'll continue playing that, though posting any kind of strategy videos from there seems extremely superfluous, due to there already being a lot of other content creators that are more skilled than I am, both in gameplay and in video quality. I also have very, very limited knowledge of Japanese, so I don't think I'd be able to give the best advice at all times on account of not always understanding the nuances of how every character works. Like this the Princess Kiara over here, who is just spamming and will eventually be striking down for 5 million damage each time. I don't understand all the nuances of that. Yeah, that was a 5 million damage strike right there. The other issue with posting content for the Japanese servers, I don't think I would be able to tailor it very well for anyone starting anew. I'd be posting endgame content, but if I'm going to be addressing an English-speaking audience, they won't be able to reach that endgame content for maybe like 6 more months. It took me about 6 months to reach the level cap when I started playing. And I started when Christmas Ilya was my first banner, so a lot has changed since then. There's many new player support packs. And the game is ridiculously power creeped with the newer characters. And lastly, I just wanted to thank you all who watched, commented, liked, or even subscribed as a result of watching these videos. I never really set out to be a real YouTube content creator like other channels. I've been just amazed by how this channel reached over, or nearly 1,000 subscribers, despite my reluctance to really put myself out there. It's been a hell of a time hearing that people were eagerly waiting for my videos to come out, and me planning ways to shift around my full-time job schedule to accommodate for that quick video release. It really seems silly to do that in retrospect, but really, thank you all for your support. Maybe I'll find some motivation to post some of the Japanese server content, but regardless, I wish you all long, happy, and safe lives ahead. Stay safe out there.